of Trump's tariffs on China, and he's kept most of them. So it's like, anyway, listen, there's so much more to go over with James Golden. You're a gold mine of information about Rush, the radio business, and I want to get to a couple things, including the terrible trick that was played on you when you were up and coming in radio, for which you wound up thanking the prankster. And we got to spend a minute on Rush's announcement when he knew the end was coming, and how much dignity he showed in that final year. So stand by for all of that with James Golden in a minute. And you are up after that. What do you make of the media panic over the new COVID variant? We've had 2,000 variants. Did you know that? 2,000. Complete meltdown now over this latest before we know anything. You think lockdowns are coming, or that the American people will obey? And how about Rush Limbaugh? Did you listen? Do you remember? Do you miss him? I do. Call me at 833-44-MEGYN. 833-446-3496. First, this Cyber Monday, celebrate softness season by stocking up on all your winter cozies with Tommy John underwear, loungewear, and pajamas. When you're wearing Tommy John, you're that much more comfortable, so you can do everything better. Shop their Cyber Monday sale right now and give the gift of comfort to everyone on your list and to yourself with Tommy John men's and women's loungewear. With over 16 million pairs sold, giving the gift of Tommy John underwear and loungewear has become a holiday tradition. 97% of women and men love getting a gift from Tommy John. Who wouldn't? That's why Tommy John does not have customers, they have fanatics. Plus, it's all backed by Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear, or its free guarantee. During Tommy John's Cyber Monday sale, you can get 20% off site-wide, plus free shipping at TommyJohn.com/MK. TommyJohn.com/MK. Order now, so your gifts arrive before the holidays. TommyJohn.com/MK. See site for details.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM Sports. Week 12 of the NFL wraps with Monday Night Football from Landover, Maryland. It's Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team hosting Russell Wilson and the slumping Seattle Seahawks. Coverage at 7:30 Eastern, followed by the national broadcast at 8:15 on your 24/7 home for football, Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88, and on the SXM app. Sirius XM Sports, wherever you are, your team plays here. Attention, if you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance. And you'd better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They are experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and will fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation. Call 800-370-8283. 800-370-8283. 800-370-8283. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com and paid for by Case Legal Media. Attention parents of premature babies. If your child was born premature and was later diagnosed with necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Several studies have shown a link between cow's milk-based formula and NEC. If your baby was fed a cow's milk-based formula such as Similac, Enfamil, Gerber, or even store-branded cow's milk-based formula and was diagnosed with NEC, don't wait. Call the Victims Justice Group now. Necrotizing enterocolitis is a severe intestinal illness that often requires surgery and can be fatal 50% of the time. NEC can affect any newborn, but babies born prematurely or at low birth weight are more susceptible to NEC. If your child was fed a cow's milk-based formula and was later diagnosed with NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Our attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call us at 800-886-0364. That's 800-886-0364. Again, 800-886-0364. This is Craig Harper with JB Hunt. We're looking for Class A CDL drivers just like you to join our team. With hundreds of locations nationwide, we're on a mission to match you with the position that fits your lifestyle. JB Hunt Company drivers start earning PTO on day one and have access to our health benefits after just 30 days. And for a limited time, we're offering up to a $10,000 sign-on bonus to new company drivers. Go to drivejbhunt.com. That's drivejbhunt.com.
Welcome back to the Megyn Kelly Show. We want to hear from you soon as we talk about radio legend Rush Limbaugh. Give me a call with your thoughts at 833-44-MEGYN. That's 833-446-3496. But first, back with me now is James Golden, author of the new book, Rush on the Radio, a tribute from his sidekick for 30 years. And James, you are his call screener, but also his sidekick. And I know you call yourself his chief discriminator, and had to determine. You were the guy who would determine who would get on to speak with Rush and who would not. So I have one of those guys right now. He's doing that at this moment, talking to people calling in. What would you say is the most important piece of that job?
Finding the people that will bring out the best in your host. Whether the best is a disagreement, whether the best is something that they can bounce off of, to just go into areas that they want to go into, or maybe unexpected areas, to just bring the best people that they are likely to have a great conversation with. And it's as easy as that sounds, it's not, because you have so many people that, and some of them don't want to listen. Some people just want to do their own little diatribe. Other people, they may not be able to articulate their point of view quite as well. And sometimes you have to actually help them reach that point of view so that they can express it. And you're talking to a lot of different people with a lot of different agendas, and being able to sort out all of that so that the on-air product, as we call it, is as good, compelling to listen to as it possibly can be.
Smart. And I know Rush loved to have people, you read in the book how he wanted the people who disagreed with him to go first, not last. He wanted them to get right on.
Yep, exactly. This was not a man who was afraid to confront opposing views. He wanted them because it gave him a chance to further articulate why he believed what he believed. And he was just exceptionally gifted at doing that. And doing it in a way that didn't alienate the person, that called very polite to everybody.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That speaks well not only of Rush, but of his audience, because then who was listening to Rush? It wasn't just sycophants. It wasn't just hard right. Yes, go. We hate Obama. We love Trump. It was a vast array of people and parties. And the people who would disagree with him, some of them wouldn't much like Rush, but they listened. They listened, and they'd call up, and he was just as kind to them.
Absolutely. One of the things after one of the particularly bad outings that Democrats had when Tom Daschle was still the majority leader of the Senate and had slipped, I think, into minority leader status, that he revealed was that the Democrat Party had done some polling. And one of the things that they were really concerned about was the number of Democrats who were listening to the Rush Limbaugh show and who were being affected by it and were converting their votes over to conservative or Republican candidates. They were extremely worried about that.
Well, I can speak to this having grown up in very blue New York State. You don't get exposed to a lot of Republican ideas. You really don't. It's certainly not in the K through 12 schooling. It's not really, your parents' friend circles are mostly Democrat and so on. And even for me, Roger Ailes asked me, how does a daughter of a nurse and a college professor wind up a fair and balanced person? And I explained to him, I was never particularly ideological, my parents nor I, but then I went out, I put myself through school, started to pay off my debt, saw what was happening to my paycheck, got exposed to other people in the law firm who had different views, listened, and started coming to my own decisions about this world instead of stuff force-fed to me. And that's the danger to a lot of far-left people, is if they see their troops exposed to some of the really wise ideas on the right, they understand they may lose them.
And for me, very interesting experience you related there, because for me, I grew up in a conservative household, but we didn't identify as conservative. My parents were Democrats. My mother was part of the Democrat hack party machine out in Queens and loved being a proud Democrat hack all of her life. But when I first started with the Rush show, Megyn, she came to me one day and said, James, my friends at church are wondering, what has happened to you? What happened to you? And I just said, Mom, I still maintain the same values that I was taught in this house. I still maintain the same values that I was taught in the church. The question isn't what happened to me. The question is what happened to you guys.
Yes. So you came into this job with Rush honestly because you had your own history in radio from your teenage years. You knew you wanted to be involved in this in some way. And during and after your time with Rush, you yourself have been on the radio doing shows. And I didn't know the story of the mean prank that was played on you. When you were 17 years old, you got a letter from WWRL AM from that station, and tell us what happened and what your takeaway was.
I had gone, this was the first station that I had ever visited. My cousin was a disc jockey, Jerry Bledsoe, Jerry B. And he was a celebrity in New York in his own right. Just an amazing broadcaster, also television. Did a dance show for local television and national commercials. Big stuff. Anyway, I went to the station to see him when I was 13 years old, walked in, fell in love. I knew I wanted to be in radio that first day. And I would continue to go to the station for years. We call it now a gopher. I wasn't paid to do anything, but I was always hanging around the radio station, going for this person, going for that. And when I was 17, I got a letter. Big showbiz break. WWRL, this station wanted to hire me. So I get dressed up, best suit, the suit and tie routine. Go to the station. I can't believe my good fortune. I get there, show the letter to the receptionist, and I have an appointment with the program director. She has a really puzzled look on her face. I didn't know about this. Calls up, more sort of what's going on here. I finally meet with some of the people on the program director's staff, and they had to break the news to me. We're sorry, this letter is a fraud. We didn't send this letter. It was on station letterhead.
So wrong.
It was so humiliating. I was so humiliated for years, but it also fueled something in me, Megan. I was determined after that no matter what, I was going to work in this industry, and I was going to get a job at that station, and a few years later, that's exactly what happened.
I got a chill. Yay. Honestly, I love that. And you write about it in the book, just talking about how in the end, you basically said, thank you. This is how the book reads. Whoever forged that letter, if you're reading this, I want to say thank you. Out of that humiliation came a relentless desire to achieve my first goal in radio, to land a job at WWRL, no matter what. And it does say, sometimes, you can't see it at the time when you have a setback like that, how it's going to fuel your fire later, right? I love there's a t-shirt out there you can get that reads, underestimate me. See how that works out. Right? See how that turns out. So it's good. Like sometimes just a little, kick in the ass. So Doug and I went to see that movie I, Tanya, and it's about Tanya Harding. It features her mother, played by Allison Janney, saying the meanest, nastiest things to Tanya Harding before she got on the ice every time, because she knew it would fuel her to skate her best, to prove the naysayers wrong. And I love that you have that in you. I can relate.
Yeah, Megan, I am just incredibly grateful for my career. I have worked with professionals, some of the best professionals in the business, not just with Rush, but the people I worked with at WWRL were great. Some of them are my mentors, my lifelong friends. Some of them I look at now as like one, Gary Bird, my older brother, who spent so much time with me, helping me understand how to think big and how to execute those thoughts. Then I moved over to WABC, and it was like graduate school. And I really learned the ways of corporate radio, and I succeeded there, but I also worked with some of the biggest names in the business up until that time. WABC was the biggest, most iconic radio station in the world.
Big time.
This was WABC, where the Beatles came. This was WABC that set the standard for all of the music that was played in top 40 radio. I produced their very last music show. Megan walked into another studio and produced their first talk show. We'll go back to something you started in the beginning about the way God prepares people for what it is they wanted to do. Throughout all of this, throughout the time I also wanted to be a musician, I was still always keyed into the news. My first memory as a human being with my father was sitting on his lap and he was reading to me. I grew up in a household that promoted education, promoted reading. I was reading the New York Times, the Long Island Press, the Daily News, the New York Post, the Amsterdam News. My family, we had papers all the time in the house, every single day. And so when it was time for me to make a transition from music, which I love, and I still love to this day very deeply, but I was also equally well prepared to move into the news talk side of the business because of this never-ending self-education I had with politics. And a lot of that happened in school, too. I had teachers that challenged me. I had one teacher that challenged not just me, but a bunch of us to become better by giving us special assignments in history. All of those things helped me become prepared to do what I was supposed to do.
Well, maybe it's your connection with music, maybe it's your family, I don't know, but I can say that a lot of people who are steeped in news make the mistake of losing heart. You know, they get kind of cold, they get kind of separated, and I think it can make them a little hard. That didn't happen to you. And the one thing the book shows us is your heart, like your connection with Rush, your connection with the audience. I don't know, that to me, like, I think we're fully in love with you by the time we find out about the Rush diagnosis and just hear more about how it all went down. The day he announced that he'd been diagnosed, and I know you point this out in the book, that he used the term advanced lung cancer. You knew before the audience knew. Tell us about that day.
The day I'll never forget, I learned we were going to have a meeting. That was the first jitter because we never had meetings. We had a meeting, Rush walks in the room, stoic as ever, wouldn't know anything's wrong, and tells us he has advanced lung cancer. Immediately, Megan, he apologizes to us.
Oh, gosh.
Hell. No. And I screamed, no. How are you apologizing to us? Well, it had to be the worst day of his life because he thought we let us down. It is still so heartbreaking to me. But he, after the meeting, went back in the studio, did a show for 2 hours and 45 minutes, and you wouldn't know that anything was wrong. Just, we all knew it was coming. We were all trying to keep the tears and everything else in check during the show. But those of us that were in there, Don Baczynski, Brian Johnson, me, we were all just looking and just trying to give each other comfort because we knew it was coming. And then at 2:45, he announced it to the world, and of course life was never the same after that. But I'll tell you what, nigga, Rush had a bucket list. His bucket list was his audience. Every single day that he was healthy enough to come in, he came in, prepared, and did an amazing show. Only those of us in there saw what that took out of him every day. Some days after the show, he could barely move. It was just heart. It was... He did an amazing show every day up until the last show that he did. And he really loved what he did. He loved his audience. He loved his family. He loved his country. But boy, did he love being Rush Limbaugh. He's amazing.
He did. And then Trump gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And I loved that. I was thrilled to see that happen. Of course, the left lost his mind, which was also perfect, right? It's just like, that's all part of Rush's legacy. He just doesn't, whatever. Okay, go ahead. But he did inspire millions of Americans. If you're not a Republican or you're not conservative or you're one of Rush Limbaugh who was a Democrat, you may not have fully understood Rush and who he was and his talents and so on. You just had this snapshot of the person that is delivered to you by the mainstream media. To me, it would drive me nuts because they take bits he would do as a comedy. He was funny. He would do these comedy bits, and they were irreverent, same as Dave Chappelle's are. And then they would try to make this the measure of a man to say this is what he thinks about certain groups of people. Anyway, fine. You can't spend too much time worrying about those things. But you point out in the book, and I thought this is such a great point, Rush did President Trump did what no one else could do. He gave Rush the highest civilian honor in America and made sure almost every elected Democrat attended the ceremony.
Yes, and I would forever be grateful to President Trump for that. That was as beautiful and well-earned and just delightful it was to see Rush honored in such a fashion. It was also just incredibly delicious was to look at the reaction of Democrats in the chamber as this happened live in front of their faces. It was
at the State of the Union.
Yes, at the State of the Union. Forget it. Which, of course, led Nancy Pelosi, I guess, all that pent-up frustration for her tearing up the State of the Union speech. How undignified at the end of it. But that's just, thank you, President Trump.
It was pretty perfect, I have to say. And you know what it said to me? I was surprised. Like, there was one of the few times Rush got emotional, and you could tell it really meant something to him. Why do you think it really meant something to him?
It meant a lot to him to be honored in such a way. It really did, because he so deserved it. And we all knew that, but I think he never expected it. He never expected that would happen. And it did, and it was just incredible that it happened that way.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think? I mean, I miss him because I would love to hear his take on what's happening in today's day and age. You know, I'd love to hear him on the latest panic about every iteration of the variants and, you know, the potential lockdowns and Fauci, I am science. And, you know, Biden, bit by bit, seemed to lose his faculties. And, by the way, I should tell our audience, you say nice things about Biden in here. He may not be your political cup of tea, but to your credit, you talk about how, you know, you saw a good man in many years going on to Capitol Hill. And I like that about you. You're not hard partisan and can't see goodness where it presents in your face. But what do you, I don't know, did you ever, like, you know how when you know somebody really well, you can tell others what his opinions would be? Do you have that with him?
Most of the time, but see, here's the problem. Every time I would think that I knew what Rush's opinion, that I know what he's going to say, he always said something completely different. I think I know what he would say with some things, but I'm never quite sure, because he was just so unique, and he could come up with such unique opinions and things you'd never thought of before, because he had his own viewpoint of the world, his own lens to look through, and would always come up with something that was compelling, unique, and wow. What a take. Only Rush could come up with that take.
Mm-hmm. It's so true, gosh. That's what's so painful. It's like I've just got to be quiet and be still and hope somehow he channels into my mind so I can know what he was saying. And honestly, like, obviously, Rush was definitely more conservative than I am, although I don't know, by today's standards, I think I might be Rush Limbaugh. You know, it's like things, the ground is shifting underneath us, right? It's like I don't even know what a conservative and what a liberal is anymore. But I liked hearing his point of view because he could articulate it wisely, smartly, in a way that was very entertaining. I am thinking about, you know, the staff and wondering what February 17th, 2022 will be like, because you always dread the anniversaries when you lose somebody.
Plans for our staff. We're making plans now. I don't want to go into too much detail, but we're starting to talk about, among ourselves, about coming together that day, because we are a family and we so badly miss our Rush.
I can relate, but it's so great to see people like you, in a way, carrying on the legacy, right? Like, you're out there doing it. You know, you're doing more and more hosting. I look at your schedule, I'm like, does he ever take a day off? I mean, are you working 7 days a week right now? But I think he'd love that.
Yes, I do. And I love what I'm doing. I'm back on WABC now 6 days a week, and I'm having a blast being on the air and doing the show. But, see, Rush's legacy has been going. We have so many young conservatives out here, millions. And by the way, many of them are activists, too. They're not just sitting on the sidelines. They're actually getting engaged in the process. And, Megan, you have your own following that's huge. And you inspire so many people as well. And so all these legacies are coming together. That's why I am so optimistic about America. Look, we are still such a young nation, Megan, and we are going to be okay.
Man, I hope you're right. I believe you're right, too. And I believe most people can see through the nonsense of all this focus on identity politics and remember our deep connection to one another as Americans first and foremost. And I also believe it's worth fighting those who are trying to smother that legacy. They must be defeated. And so there is a time to fight. And, you know, although we've lost one of our generals, the rest of us are still here, you know, ready to go. And I know you're one of them, James. I am, too. Such a pleasure. You've always been such a gentleman, so kind to me. It's great to see you in person, and good luck with the book.
May I just say one thing, Megan? Thank you for reading the book. See, folks, this is what I'm talking about, prepared. She read the book, which is amazing.
It was my pleasure. It was 100% my pleasure. All the best, James. To be continued. And, folks, now it's your turn. Now are you inspired to call in and talk to Payco in the same way that Rush's audience would call in and talk to, well, quote, Bo Snerdly. Do it now. Let us know what you think about, what do you remember most about Rush? Or what about this new COVID variant? Are you scared? Do you think the media is trying to make you scared? How about Fauci, your god of science? 833-44-MEGAN, MEGYN, that's 833-446-3496. But first, ladies and gentlemen, take a quick look in the mirror. See those bags under your eyes? Imagine them gone. Take 10 years off with this product. You can get rid of those bags and the puffiness under your eyes just in time for the holiday season. Yes, we have like 4 weeks, can you believe? And you can do that thanks to Genucell Plant Stem Cell Therapy for bags and puffiness under the eyes. Rosa from New Jersey wrote in, quote, I felt the bags under my eyes firm up, and the skin was glowing. Your product helped me to reduce puffiness quickly. In just a couple of weeks, I stopped using concealer because of the improvement. Actually, I've gone a week without applying heavy makeup. I would recommend Genucell to anyone. And with its instant effects, you're going to see results thanks to Genucell in the first 12 hours, guaranteed, or your money back. From now until Christmas, Genucell's most popular package is 60% off at lovegenucell.com/MK. Treat yourself and a loved one to the absolute best skincare in the world. Just go to lovegenucell.com/MK and enter my special promo code MK for an extra special holiday present. They will give you a beautiful presentation with amazing products. They come in a very sort of sleek, elegant packaging that you will love presenting as a gift for yourself or anyone who you care about, and you will not be sorry. LoveGenucell.com/MK. That's love, GENUCEL.com/MK.
Bringing the warmth and wonder of the season with timeless Christmas music and carols.
Hallmark Channel returns to Sirius XM. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Beloved Hallmark Channel stars like me, Candace Cameron Bure, will share their favorite holiday songs and behind-the-scenes stories of their all-new original holiday movie premieres on now.
Through Christmas Day, Channel 104, and on the SXM app.
This Cyber Monday, celebrate softness season with Tommy John and save 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. When you wear Tommy John, you're that much more comfortable, so you can do everything better. Shop Tommy John's Cyber Monday sale now and give the gift of comfort to everyone on your list, including yourself, with Tommy John men's and women's loungewear. With over 16 million pairs sold, giving the gift of Tommy John underwear and loungewear is a holiday tradition. 97% of women and men report they love getting a gift from Tommy John. That's why Tommy John doesn't have customers, they have fanatics. Plus, it's all backed by Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear or its free guarantee. During Tommy John's Cyber Monday sale, get 20% off site-wide plus free shipping at TommyJohn.com/MK. Get 20% off plus free shipping for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/MK. Order now so your gifts arrive before the holidays. TommyJohn.com/MK. See site for details.
Hey, are you tired of missing sales? Look, if you have a business that sells anything, listen to this. My name's Grant Cardone, and that's right, I'm the tired of missing sales guy. Look, if you're tired of missing sales, understand if nobody knows you, they can never do business with you. I've grown my business from $3 million a year to $150 million every year in just 7 years. Want to know my secret? The internet and social media. And I'll show you how to master both for free. I'll show you the 3 top ways to get customers online no matter what type of business you have, and I'll do it for free right now at tiredofmissingsales.com. That's tiredofmissingsales.com. You don't have to be an online business, by the way, to make the internet work for you. You could be a lawyer, a baker, a bricklayer. Literally, you could be anything and still get customers online. See for yourself, absolutely free. Go to tiredofmissingsales.com. That's tiredofmissingsales.com. You know what it is, tiredofmissingsales.com. That's tiredofmissingsales.com. Go to tiredofmissingsales.com to get immediate access today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andreas Michaelitis, Chief Psychologist at Noom. But what's Noom and why does Noom need a Chief Psychologist? Noom is a weight loss program that works, with results that last. Because we know that changing the way you eat starts with your mind. With Noom's proven psychology-backed tools, one-on-one coaching, and flexible plans that emphasize progress over perfection, you'll have the tools you need to change your relationship with food. Sign up for Noom today and lose the weight for good at Noom.com/serious. That's NOOM.com/serious.
Welcome back, folks. Phone lines are open. Call us at 833-44-MEGYN. We're going to kick it off now with Carrie down in Texas. Carrie, what are your thoughts?
Hi, Megan. I just wanted to let you know that I'm 64 years old and I have never missed a public figure as much as I miss Rush. He was my one-stop news and opinion source, and now I have to spend so much more time and read a variety of sources just to get what I could get from his 2-hour show, 3-hour show.
You know what's so great about him, too, is that he was entertaining. Like, those comedy bits were funny. Rush was entertaining.
Yes, and I'm a big sports fan, and he also had sports that he would bring up. I love his entire show, and I miss him greatly.
Yeah, you are not alone. Thank you for sharing your memory. I'm feeling it, too. Wayne in New Jersey, what are your thoughts?
Hello, Megan. How you doing?
Great. How you doing?
Fantastic. I tell you, I really miss Rush. I'm not going to lie. A day of heaven for me was listening to Rush and watching you on Fox News with all you down. I was getting so much information from us. And I just want to say this. I love Bo Thursday.
Yeah.
Any Rush fan, I believe, has to love Bo. I really think that WABC missed the ball, or I don't know. I just think Bo should have, I don't want to say taken over, but I would rather listen to Bo be 12 to 3 than the two guys they have on there now.
Well, that's interesting. Bo's extremely, Bo James, he's extremely talented and obviously has a background in radio, and, you know, he's one of those guys, like, right, you think, as he says, he grew up in a household that was mostly, you know, that was actually Democratic, and a black man, he, quote, should be a Democrat, but he thought for himself.
He's awesome. He really, really is. I hope to hear more of him on the radio.
Me too. Listen, thank you for calling. Thanks for listening, Wayne. We'll take you under any circumstances you're willing to come. You don't have to. You can watch us on YouTube with the sound down, but I'm also nice to listen to. I assure you. Stay tuned. Wayne's gone. He's like, we'll see.